Cheers. Make sure I'm well hydrated and recovering some of the electrolytes I lost today. Sweating my ass off because it was like 100 and probably 105 in town. I never did get to see a thermometer, but it was very hot. Might do a video soon on how much water you should drink and that whole subject, and it probably won't be what you expect it to be. But I think it's an important issue. And there's a lot of weirdness around it right now with current recommendations. Let's talk about that some other time. I have 3 watering cans here. I'm lucky enough to have these 3 galvanized watering cans. They're all very high quality. They have that in common. They're also all the same material, which is galvanized steel. So basically, galvanization is plating steel with zinc. And the reason people do that is because iron is cheap, right? So you can get a cheap material and then you coat it in zinc and the zinc doesn't rust. So if I made this watering can out of just plain iron of this thickness, it would last like a year or 2 maybe, and then it'd be gone. But this watering can's been outside ever since I got it, probably about 25 years old. Never lived indoors ever, and there's not a speck of rust on it, and it's in perfect shape because it's a very high quality item. Design is another issue. So all of these have that in common. Now there's 2 ways to do galvanization that I know of. I'm not an expert or anything, but one uses electricity to deposit the zinc on the surface of the can in a solution of zinc, like an electrolyte solution. The other way, which all these are, is hot dipped, and hot dip's just generally considered superior in that I think you just dip it in a vat of molten zinc, maybe more than one time, and it leaves a much thicker deposit and much longer lasting. So all these are hot dipped galvanized steel. Plastic can be okay too if it's a really high quality long-lived plastic, and you could consider that too. This one's made in America, this one's made in England, and this one's made in France. I don't remember the name of this. This one I think I'm not going to be able to remember the company, and it's not stamped on here anywhere. This one is a Haas. So when I bought this, they were advertising the fact that this company had been in business for a long time and they still made high quality goods the old way with hot dip galvanization, and that this thing was like a lifetime watering can basically. It had a different rosette on it. This isn't the original rosette. It was a steel rosette that screwed on, and it had a brass, face to it, which all of these do. And I thought at the time, well, that's great. I'm willing to invest in quality. It was fairly expensive. At the time, it was a lot of money for me and my ex-wife. And we just were, when we buy tools, we always bought quality because, I could have been through numerous watering cans in the meantime. But as I used other watering cans over the years and learned more about it, I saw how poor this design is. So let's take a look at the design of these 3 different things. Now, first of all, the rosette that was on it, which I can't find, unfortunately, because I would love to show you how bad it is, it had really large holes. So that means the water comes out in large streams, and those just do a lot more damage to small seedlings and especially to the surface of the soil. So when you're watering, you don't want something that's just going to beat and pulverize and pound the surface of the soil. If you can get away with it, the smaller the holes are, the better. And if you want a higher volume, you should make more small holes rather than a few large holes. So this one had a terrible rosette on it. So that's one thing I didn't like about it. This is actually made by Haas, this company here, as a replacement, and it's rubber and it just slips over any watering can that you have. And it's okay. Let me show you how that pours. Okay, so this is basically evolved from like a bucket. It's like someone took a bucket with a handle and they're like, okay, well, if we put a spout on here, we can pour water out of it, and then we'll put a handle here so you can tip it like this. Put a rosette on it, and then we have a watering can. So that evolved out of something else, but it's not an intelligent design. It just doesn't work that well. So let's say that I'm watering a bed that's, kind of wide or something. I have to hold this, extend it, and hold the weight out over the bed, and then I still have to reach out, grab this, and tip it like that. You can kind of do it this way, but I'm still holding the weight out, in front of me, like that. This French can, it's elongated and the spout is longer, so that means that you don't have to stand as close to what you're watering. It's going to have a little bit more reach to it. And then this is a much better design here because you can just kind of move your hand along this to use this can. So I can stand here and I can just kind of move my hand along here. Pretty good. It also has a nice rosette. This has, reasonably small holes, and the the stream is gentle, you know, it doesn't pulverize the soil too bad. I don't have any major complaints about this can, but it ain't this can. So the Haas, switch these again. Now the Haas is a more advanced design. It's got this really long tube so that I can just stand here like that and reach, you know, I'm reaching 3 feet from myself, just holding it, you know, holding the weight right here and not having to hold my hand out at all. The rosette is very fine. It's just got really, really small holes, but it is not a low flow. It's still a high flow because it has a lot of holes. You know, it has a lot more holes than this does, like way more. I don't know if they're equal or not, but this has a very fine spray and it actually comes out pretty fast. Let's compare these again, okay? So this one, this one. Also, it goes up. See how it comes up and then it falls down? That's better than kind of like pointing it at the soil and pulverizing the soil. And then this one, still fairly big holes. So out of these, I think this is really the best can. It's got the long reach, it's got the rosette points up, and it's got really fine holes, so it makes a really nice fine spray, but it's still fairly high volume. The downside to those small holes is that they clog easy, and this can actually comes with a plastic filter. It's like a little thing that slips inside here. I don't have it, so I can't show it to you. It's lost in the garden somewhere. But that kind of pre-filters whatever's in here of the water before it gets to the rosette. So I use these a lot for using like liquid manure. So let's say if I have a manure tea or something like that, if I don't filter that or have it pretty clean, then it's going to clog up the rosette, especially if the filter isn't in here too. I'll actually often just take the rosette off and just run, you know, the manure water in a stream like this, kind of up and down real quick. But I prefer to use the rosette, but clogging is definitely can be an issue. These are extremely expensive, and is it worth it? Well, are you going to use it? You know, if you're going to use it a lot and the thing lasts for the rest of your lifetime, which is very likely, it very likely will, then I don't know, you do the math. That's up to you. For me, this was a great investment. I think when I got it, it was probably only 60 or 80 bucks. Now they're much more expensive. They have a lot of different designs. This one in particular is the one that I think is probably the best. These are nice for liquid manure because you can just dump the stuff in a certain proportion. Like I can just eyeball, say 1/3 of liquid manure, and then I fill the rest up with water, and it gives me kind of a standardized approach to fertilizing. And you think of how else would you apply that fertilizer? You know, a watering can is really kind of the easiest, best way to do it. This is like advanced design. This one, someone took the idea of having a watering can and they tried to start from scratch and make something that really worked. This is basically just a bucket with a handle and a spout on it. So it does matter, and fine streams are the way to go. And there you go, 3 watering cans.